Motorsport 411 presents
all the four- and two-wheeled action.
Motorsport 411 with Sean Cardovillis.
Welcome to Motorsport 411, your home for all your four- and two-wheel action in Africa. Coming up in this episode, we have an exclusive interview with Leroy Gomes, the 2022 Africa Rally champion. And we find out all about Ahmad Daham, the drifting superstar who was in the country recently.
All the four- and two-wheeled action. Motorsport 411.
Hi, I'm Leroy Gomes, Africa Rally Champion 2022. You're listening to Motorsports 411.
Welcome to the show. So the 2022 Africa Rally Championship is done and dusted. Leroy Gomes won the championship after finishing second in the Zambia Rally behind winner Karan Patel. McCrae Kimathi finished third in the Africa Rally Championship category and won the ARC3 title, while Hamza Anwar secured the Africa Rally Championship junior title. After the event, we had a chance to speak to Gomes. Leroy, thank you so much for speaking to us on Motorsport 411. New Africa champion, how does that feel?
Wow, it's a bit surreal. It's such a great honor to be crowned an African Rally champion, and for me even a greater honor to do it alongside my wife. But it is really still settling in. It's been a day or two after the event. A lot of tears were shed, but it's still we're still just enjoying it and slowly building up the excitement. I think I'll really probably feel it when we're invited to the end of year gala, but for now we're just taking each day as it comes.
It's been a fantastic fight between you and Karan Patel. I'm sure you give credit to him, huh?
Oh, 100%. Karan is like I keep on telling everyone, is for me probably the currently the fastest driving rally driver on the competing rally driver on the continent. Sorry. Just because we've had a lot of people that have sat out, taken sabbaticals or semi-retired, and he's got great potential. The way he approaches every rally and every race is phenomenal. I've learned a lot from him, and it's just been a great honor to go up against him and actually gauge my pace. But he's just out there. He's a super driver, and I really look forward to seeing a lot from him in the future, and definitely he will be crowned an African Rally champion as well in the near future.
Now, the difference is you went to Ivory Coast, Karan didn't. How much closer do you think it could have been had Karan made the trip to West Africa?
No, I think it looked, if he did come across there, I think it could have been a different conversation we're having today, and we'd be congratulating Karan. But also, rally is so unpredictable. So, it would have, could have, should have, often doesn't happen. Because things could have been different, but again, things also could have gone wrong for him in the rest of the season, and he may not have had as good a season in terms of completing rallies. Because if I look a little bit at his history as a driver, he's had a number of DNFs because of his aggression. But the one thing that has happened this season, he's matured so much as a driver that he's able to actually pace himself, change his pace, and manage his races a lot better. So you see that in him now as a racer. So it's like I always say, rally is such an unforgiving sport. So you don't count your chicks before the eggs hatch, just because things can always go sour. But yeah, I think it could have been a lot different coming up to this final event had he come to Ivory Coast.
How special was it winning the title on home soil?
It was phenomenal. So we had 4 stages on the Sunday. And, when we finished the first stage, we'd have to drive through the spectators and go to the second stage, and we repeated them. But every time we drove through the crowd, it was so overwhelming. And, I'd shed a tear every time we went through, just because you just had this overwhelming feeling of, a whole nation behind you, supporting you, cheering for you. You're nervous, really, really nervous, because, the rally's not over, but everyone is behind you. And you just, on the 2 occasions that we had to drive past, I did shed a tear. But, when we came past the flying finish on the last stage, and we're exiting the one farm, the crowd, crowd had gathered just on the exit. And they spilled water, alcohol, everything all over the car, kind of a christening and a baptism in its own sense. And I mean, you couldn't hold back the tears. It was just an overwhelming feeling to win it on home soil with all the backing we had.
Now, mathematically, you didn't have to win the rally to win the title. How nerve-wracking was it this past weekend?
Look, extremely. It's one of those where we drove. I would say like at a 90%. I mean, our pace was reasonably good, but that extra 10% could allow us to fight a little bit more in terms of trying to win the event. But it's we kept it on the road. We kept it clean. It's my usual style is always the same. I mean, my car in and out of a rally will often come out clean. There's always just that fear of mechanical failure. So you couldn't overchance it just because it's a machine, it can fail, and there's a lot of mechanics that go on to making this machine work. So you're always conscious that this could happen. And I think day one wasn't so bad because you knew that if something happened on day one, you can come in on day two, and you could still get to the end and still get your points and God willing, still bag the championship. But day two of racing was the more nerve-wracking because you don't have any chances. This is a must finish, So you had, again, very controlled racing. I think we've spent the whole season controlling our racing and trying to just make sure that we bag optimum points, we get to the end. So it was still very controlled, but we had a lot of fun still doing it.
Now, when you look at the proud history of Zambian motorsport and your name now gets added to the great drivers in history, how proud do you feel as a Zambian?
No, extremely proud. It's such an honor to be a flag bearer. I mean, it's such an honor to represent a nation. I think any athlete, that is one of the greatest honors for them. For me, at 40 years old, ripe in age, not really the age of a normal athlete. It's such a great honor, and I mean, we were acknowledged from our president, on the success of our achievement, and like I said, it's such a great honor.
Now, as far as we're aware, you're the first husband and wife to win the Africa Rally Championship. How proud are you of Urshilla?
Extremely proud. Like I've said before, I wouldn't want any other nav alongside me. I trust her completely. She's phenomenal. And the chemistry in and outside the car is phenomenal. And it's, I mean, to share a leaf in the history books with your wife is the greatest honor, I think, for a husband, because we will both be remembered. It won't be Leroy. It'll be Leroy and his wife, Urshilla, remembered. So it's a great honor, and like I said, wouldn't have it any other way.
Just describe the feelings when Urshilla called out the final notes. You knew that you had won the title.
It was quite amazing. In the last stage, we had set the fastest time in the last stage before. It was quite a good time. So, I mean, it's our favorite stage. We've run this stage in our national championship quite a few times, and we love it. It's the stage that I kept taking away time from Kanyottu even last year when we competed. So, in the last stage, we get to the start. It's exciting. We say a little prayer, not a prayer for the victory, but a prayer just to get to the end and let everyone get to the end safely. And so we start, but when things go and you're having fun, sometimes you have too much fun. So on one of the big first corners, I came in too hot and braked a little too late, so I kind of overshot the corner and hit a peg on the bunting. And in my head, I'm scratching, thinking I'm just waiting for something to lock, because maybe this peg has gone in my tire, knowing bad luck as it may be, maybe gets locked in the tire. So you slow down a little bit, just waiting for something to lock, and nothing locks. So, okay, we continue going. And then, we had one note that we had taken, and with the first time we ran it, we hit a stone or a rock in that note. So I was like, okay, I know roughly where we hit it, but I didn't see it. So I'm not too comfortable with taking the same line. So we changed the line, and in changing the line, I shoot off across into another field because we're going around the pivot and it just throws me out. I see this big anthill and mount, and I have to dodge that while you're trying to left foot brake and control the car. She's shouting, "Babe," and I'm saying, "No, don't worry, I've got this. It's the last stage." And we get round that, and so now we're coming towards the flying finish, go over Brow, and we have to fork like a fast right left 5, and there's a few mounds, and at that forky moment, I'd say even if the car had to cut off, I can roll to the flying finish, and I don't know that, but I still have to get to the end of the rally. But that's when he just settled and said, "We are about to finish. No alarms have come on the car. Everything seems to be perfect on the car." And when we hit that flying finish, then it was just a sigh of relief. I mean, Karan was waiting like a true sportsman at the end of the stage for us. We went, got to the end. She was bawling. I was shedding a few tears. She was, crying and very emotional. And we both were. But, we got out, embraced Karan and Tasef. I mean, true sportsmen at the end. And we had Rudy, who's been our team manager from the start to the end, who was waiting also at the end for us. And it was just, such a warm moment. Embraced everyone, embraced each other. And then started the slow drive back to the service park and to finish the formalities. But just overwhelming. It was like, you feel light. It's like you're carrying the burden of a nation and such high expectations on your shoulders. Now you've achieved it. That weight just falls off. And then the emotions get the better of you.
Incredible stuff. Now, in December is the FIA Awards. I'm sure you're really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. It's been one of the things. I think when I first, chose to try and take on the Africa Rally Championship, I think one of the biggest things was the awards, to get to meet, some of the greatest, sportsmen in terms of motorsports in the world. And that was definitely a driving ambition. And now to actually, be honored and to go there, and again, to go there with my wife. And I know in Africa, we are the first couple, but I'd still like to find out if in the world, if there's ever been any other couple that have won any other rally championship, be it in Europe, WRC, Australia, Asia, East Pacific. I'm just curious if there've ever been other couples that have, been able to do that. But like I said, the awards will be a great honor, meeting the greats and hopefully making some friendships that might last and be able to, maybe extend into favoring my son who's trying to walk this path of motorsports.
Just finally, I know it's still early days. What are your plans for next season? Will you defend your Africa title?
To be very honest, I want to be fully committed to work. My whole workforce, who I consider my family, have really made lots of sacrifices for my wife and I to achieve what we've done. And so I need to dedicate more time to them and also now come back and work hard for them and take the company to another level and streamline our business. But so I don't think we will defend the title. We will probably take part in a couple of ad hoc events just to keep the sharpness and enjoy the friendships and keep close to the friendships that we've made in the motorsports fraternity. And then God willing, if everything lines up and everything goes right, maybe take another pot shot at it, possibly just before Seth comes of age to compete. We'll do that so that he can tag along with us and get first-hand exposure to all the terrain we're going to go on. And then when he turns 18, we'd like to get him immediately competing on the ARC and see how he does when he's 18.
Leroy Gomes, on behalf of Motorsport 411, congratulations to you and Urshilla, the 2022 Africa Rally Champions. Congratulations once again from all of us here at Motorsport 411.
No, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
That's Leroy Gomes. We'll be back.
All the 4 and 2-wheeled action.
Motorsport 411.
Hey, what's up everyone? Ahmad Daham here, Red Bull athlete and drifter. You're listening to Motorsport 411.
So welcome back. Now, drifting superstar Ahmad Daham was in the country last week to show off his car, film a documentary and give a workshop at the KICC.
Let's get ready for Ahmad Daham to the last.
I had a chat with Daham Born in Cyprus, raised in Jordan, and based between Jordan and the UAE, I asked him how he got into drifting.
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me here. To be honest, it's the first time I visit this side of the world. I'm loving it. I love the nature. I love the car scene over here. From what I'm seeing, people love cars over here. And hopefully they're going to love drifting even more and more after they see what drifting actually is. And yeah, really happy to be here. And how I started? At a very young age. I come from a background of motorsport, let's say, not really big motorsport. Like my older brother used to do some time attacks, some racing, and I used to go take pictures of him. And that's when I got hooked. And ever since then, all I do is cars. I first started locally in Jordan. And true, I was born in Cyprus, but I really launched or took off in Jordan. Because in Jordan, the car scene is way bigger. People love cars. And it's much more easier to learn drifting, especially that the police are not so tight on these kind of stuff, really. So that's where I launched, that's where I learned drifting, and then I moved on to Dubai. Long story short, I moved on to Dubai, and that's where all the sponsors came, that's where I became a Red Bull athlete, and I think that's where I actually grew.
It's amazing your relationship with Jordan. You don't have Jordanian blood, but you do have the flag on your clothes.
Yeah, actually, it's quite confusing. I was born in Cyprus. My dad's from Iraq. My mom's from Syria. I represent Jordan and have a Palestinian passport, and I live in Dubai. So it's quite a mix of nationalities, Annie. But I feel like I'm part of Jordan because I grew up there. I took off my drifting scene or my drifting career over there. So I feel like I own this country, what they gave me, honestly. So yeah, and my biggest fan base is in Jordan. And actually, I just love the country.
With Jordan, there seems to be a special relationship with drifting, from the crowds to the culture there.
Yes, Jordan, the Levant region, let's say, are well known to have the biggest drifting crowd. You've got Jordan, you've got Egypt, you've got Lebanon, but to me, I think Jordan is the biggest crowd. The last event I was in Jordan 2-3 weeks ago, we had 15,000 spectators and tickets were fully sold. They had no capacity to take even more. So the fans in Jordan, and wherever I go in the streets, everyone knows me, everyone loves drifting, they know the cars, they know the name of my cars by heart. They're pure, hardcore, let's say, drifting fans.
Now, the car you brought here, it's like the Mona Lisa of drifting cars. Just tell us about that.
Yes, it's the Mona Lisa of drifting cars and the Mona Lisa of what I can do and me and my team can do, actually. This car has all the experience I've had in the past 20 years in motorsport into one car. That's why I call it the Mona Lisa. And we actually don't call it is the Mona Lisa of drifting, but we called it Katana, which means the sword of the samurai, to continue my other car. The other car is called Senshi, which is the warrior. This has been built to every high quality part. Every single detail has been taken into consideration, whether it was performance, looks, quality. So yeah, this is my dream car since I was a young kid. This is what I would have built if I had the money 10 years ago.
And this really was a project during Corona, during the COVID period.
Yes, this was actually an advantage because during Corona we had nothing to think of, nothing to do except this car. So it was quite a struggle reaching the car and coming back and sourcing some parts. But luckily we have already ordered the parts right before Corona happened, right, the recovery happened. So all the parts were there. All we had to do was just build them in a nice quality way, install them, in a good way. It was built during COVID, which honestly I was happy about.
All right, let's talk about some of the technical aspects of this car. I understand it's about 1,200 horsepower. Yeah. Just tell us about that and also the tires as well.
Okay, the car basically runs a 2JZ, 1,000 horsepower without nitrous, 1,200 with nitrous. People don't know that in drifting we actually use nitrous. It's not just as a show. it actually gives you an advantage, yani. And yeah, it runs a 4-speed sequential gearbox, not the normal edge pattern one. The car has been reduced from 1,800 kilograms to 1,200 thanks to the carbon Kevlar body panels all around, full FIA roll cage for safety. We run Toyo R888R tires for maximum grip. We run Willwood brakes all around. Front we run the front ones are 6-pot single. The rear we run 2 calipers, one for the handbrake, one for the foot brake. The engine has been lowered so much and into the back to have a better center of gravity. Actually, this car is one of, I think, the only cars in the Middle East that has a 50-50 weight distribution, which helps a lot in drifting, yani. So yeah, that's it.
Tell us about the tire pressure.
Tire pressure, which was quite interesting. In full competition mode, maximum grip, I run 5 psi in the back and 28 psi in the front. Why do we run 5 psi? To spread the tire a little bit more. You know, when the lower tire pressure you run, the more the tire flattens or spreads to get more grip. But yeah, this is actually quite a trick that not many drifters know. But yeah, we run 5 psi for maximum grip.
Unbelievable. The other thing is also the fuel as well. You don't actually use even avgas. It's actually something else.
Yes, we use ethanol, which is made out of corn. Ethanol, they use it all around for sanitizing, for cleaning. So we use ethanol because it gives more power and cooler on the engine. We have the intake air temperatures and the engine temperatures go down around 15 degrees just because of the ethanol. Although it needs a special fuel system, which we are running to run the ethanol because it's very corrosive. So yeah, that's everything in the car is prepared for that.
Okay, your whole life revolves around drifting. You've got NMK. Just tell us about that, your own business.
Yes, I'm not only a drifter, I'm a car tuner, car builder. I own 2 workshops, one in Jordan, one in Dubai, which build the best cars in the Middle East, if not in the world. So yeah, I'm a pure car guy, not just driving and drifting, but I actually technically know every single detail in any car, which I think is an advantage to me, because not many drifters understand how the car works, and not many drifters, or no, actually none of the drifters in the region tune their own cars. So I can actually tune the car to what I feel I need, not just the car needs. So I think that's an advantage. And yeah, we've had the workshop since 2009, and we opened the Dubai workshop 2 years ago, and hopefully we'll be spreading even more and more.
Now the pictures have spread quite rapidly here on social media. The logistics of bringing the car here through Astral, who flew in the car for you. Just tell us the logistics of bringing in a car like this, and then, your relationship with Red Bull as well.
Honestly, I wouldn't have been here, or the car wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for Astral Aviation, because there were some delays. The car came actually directly from Goodwood. I was in Goodwood in end of July, so the car came directly from Goodwood to Dubai, and then from Dubai to Kenya. But the problem is there was delay in shipping. Everyone knows now vessels, there's been a lot of delay after COVID and all that stuff. So we were quite lucky that Astral Aviation came on board at the last moment and decided to ship the car by plane, which helped us a lot. And as you can see, the car is right over here with us. And this, of course, wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for Red Bull Kenya too. They've been pushing so hard for this. This was an idea we came up, I think, like 5 months ago, and ever since then we've been working until now, and it's been quite stressful, but thankfully everything went as planned.
How special is it being a Red Bull athlete?
It's the best thing in my life, honestly. It's what switched my, let's say, from being a hobby to becoming a professional. And it changed how people looked at me, actually, and it got me even more partners, and I was taken more seriously, not just from my family, but from everyone else. Because before Red Bull, my parents were like, Ahmad, what are you doing? Until when? You keep spending money. Until when? As soon as I signed with Red Bull, they're like, okay, now we know what you've been building for the past 10 years. Okay. So yeah, Red Bull has always been my dream to become a Red Bull athlete ever since I saw Nasser Atiyah and Mad Mike wearing that cap. I'm like, I want that cap. I did my research and I worked so hard to build my CV, let's say, until finally Red Bull, they approached me and like, okay, you worked so hard, I think now it's time to become a Red Bull athlete. Yeah.
It is more than just being an athlete. It's a lifestyle. It's like a family.
Yes, that's what I like about Red Bull. Okay, they are sponsors, partners, let's say, but they don't treat you as a driver. They treat you more as a family. They check up on you. They take care of you. They have the Red Bull Athletes Performance Center. If you need anything physically, health-wise, they build a family more than they build a team. Let's say the Red Bull, let's say drift team or Red Bull athlete all around the world. Yeah, honestly, to me, they're more like family, and hopefully we'll stay for a very long time with them.
Ahmad, just tell us about the relationship with Kenya. It appears that you get a lot of people interacting with you on social media.
Oh yeah, I was shocked, to be honest, because I've never been to this part of this world, and I realized I have a huge fan base over here. Like when people found out I was coming, I get a lot of messages. We've been following you since 2014 and 2013. Like, wow, okay, that long, Annie. And when the word spread that Katana is coming, I think that's where the big boom came. Everyone, all the pictures of the car spreading everywhere. Everyone wants to see the car, and to me, the surprise will be when everyone sees the car in action. Looking at the car parked is 20% of what you will actually see of what the car is capable of doing. So yeah, I was shocked of how much the community loved drifting. But at the same time, I was expecting that because the Kenyans love motorsport in general. Okay, they're more biased to rally, but trust me, when they see what drifting is all about, I'm 100% sure they will all switch to drifting. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Motorsport 411.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me here. And hopefully we'll be visiting Kenya again very soon.
That's the drifting superstar Ahmad Daham. We'll be back.
Motorsport 411.
Welcome back. So after sitting with drifting superstar Ahmad Daham, two Kenyan athletes, the gaming superstar Queen Arrow and Kenya rally driver Karan Patel, were named Red Bull athletes. The two were awarded Red Bull caps through an informal ceremony. And afterwards, I asked Daham how he was named a Red Bull athlete.
Honestly, I was announced on the phone. I was doing a barbecue at home. I got the phone call that I've been working 20 years to get that phone call. And I think the same thing for Karan and Queen Aaron. This cap is something special, honestly, Annie. To be a Red Bull athlete, you have to work so hard. And to become a Red Bull athlete, you're a very lucky person. I think there's around 200, 250, 300 athletes. So to become one of them, something very special. And I really liked how we announced it. It was quite a surprise for them both. And hopefully, I wish them the best.
Karan, I've never seen you shaking before. You're literally shaking. How does it feel to be a Red Bull athlete?
I'm quite speechless. I'm just thankful. I wouldn't have reached here without obviously the support of my family to start with. And we've all worked very hard, and again, I'm not sure what to say. It's that it's settled in, and I'm proud, and I'm thankful, and I'm grateful to the Almighty, obviously, and I'm grateful to the Red Bull team here for making this something that I can keep for life if everything goes to plan.
I remember you as a pretty young boy, the DMAC series in Europe and all. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it has, and like I said, I would have never been able to take part in the DMAC without the investment and the support of my mom and my dad and my brother, and now there's my wife, who's obviously also there, and she has to accept that half the time I'm not with her because I'm taking part in motorsport. So it also takes a toll, and I'm so thankful for her also, to be able to live with this and live with me hardly being there. And hopefully we'll have her on more events rather than being at home. She's always busy at work, so it's not like she has she's doing nothing at home. But it's just great.
Just finally, I had quite a long chat with your mother in Kilifi, and to see her, your father, there were 3 cars, 36 degrees, the temperatures out there, the passion and the enthusiasm for the two boys, just absolutely incredible.
It is. I mean, and I'm so thankful for that. It's it's seldom to find that both parents there on every rally, and I do see, like, when Just Mangat is rallying, his dad is still always there, and that's something I want, and I would love to be possible as we grow old and we improve in the sport and we go and tackle more challenging events. It's so comforting and important for me to have my parents there and have the support that they always have, and hopefully my wife and my brother will always be there too. So.
As a Red Bull athlete now, what does the future hold?
We'll have to see. I mean, obviously, we don't slow down now. If anything, we push even harder. We grow. We take this sport and the discipline to the next level. It's going to just take a lot more now effort. I mean, I'm sure, as you know, there's a lot I already do to make myself a very high performing driver, and we'll see what else we can do to improve on that front.
Karan Patel, Red Bull athlete. We've also got Quinaro here as well for gaming, e-gaming, as I mentioned. Esports is going to be an Olympic sport in Paris in 2024. Karan, thank you so much for speaking to us on Motorsport 411.
Thank you very much. Thank you too.
And once again, congratulations to Quinaro and Karan Patel. We'll be back.
Motorsports 411 with Sean Cardovillis.
So that's it for the show this week. Our thanks once again to Leroy Gomes, Ahmad Daham and Karan Patel. Our thanks as always to Big City Studio. I'm Sean Cardovillis. See you next week.